The ingenuity of this country, the breakthroughs in science, medicine, technology that have happened here, generation after generation, that have changed the world. Why did it happen here? Well, one of the reasons is because among our prized liberties, freedoms, is the freedom to think for ourselves. Barbara Tuchman was once asked, "How do you teach history?" She answered in 2 words: tell stories. History or the New York Historical Society is an inexhaustible storehouse of story.
We are passionate about history. We really believe that history has the power to change lives. So our ambitions involve nothing less than drawing as many people as possible into the story of American history.
The only way to make an institution relevant is to tell a story well. And our charge today is to return to our roots as historians, using digital technology, capturing the essence of great storytelling that has characterized our greatest historians from the time of Thucydides and Herodotus.
This institution is part of a very self-conscious effort of New Yorkers and Americans in the early years of the 19th century to establish a strong national and cultural identity. Who was an American? How did one know one was an American?
In America, we don't define ourselves by blood. Peoples from all over the world have come here, and what we ask them to do is accept a set of ideas: democracy, freedom, toleration.
And it's the only place in the world where people really have identified with an idea as opposed to a nationality.
Those values and principles are so important, and we must preserve those, and we must do everything we can to ensure people have an opportunity to do this.
The early founders state that without authentic records and original documents, history is nothing but a well-combined series of fables. Because it started so early in 1804 and was founded by people who had a real sense of history and of what they were doing, they made a real active effort to collect what they knew would be needed in the future to tell a story.
Under one roof, you have this extraordinary library: books, publications, documents, prints, photographs, and then this equally amazing collection of works of high art, paintings, sculpture, silver, but also what we call material culture: weapons, uniforms, business from the household.
You can have documents, you can have paintings, you can have great books, but that's only unique in one dimension. The real question is, what do you do with those?
Documents in a vault do you no good. They're locked away. Until you bring those out and let people touch them, let people see them, let them think about context, they do no good.
How do we make them relevant for a larger audience?
To quote the character that Kevin Costner plays in Field of Dreams, "If you build it, they will come."
We try through our exhibitions program to be the opposite of a textbook, to allow students to engage really firsthand.
In order to reach children, we're trying to ask ourselves, what topics are important? What is the story that needs to be told?
As soon as the Historical Society mounted the slavery exhibition, you would have thought people in Harlem got lost. This exhibition was packed with African Americans of all ages, different occupations. People have a hunger to know. It's true of every diverse segment of the American people.
I think that brought to people for the first time a sense of what slavery was all about in the North.
All men are created equal. Who were they kidding? 500,000 Americans in 1776 were held in slavery. All men obviously were not created equal. That was a flaw that had to be corrected, and it would take a long time to do so. It hasn't just been handed to us all in perfect order, running perfectly. It's up to us in each generation to remember that ideal, to take the torch and carry it on and improve what we were given. And that's our strength.
In fact, it has changed the curriculum. A topic that was not part of the general teaching strategy for New York is now incorporated into the way in which students will study the history of their state and through that the history of the nation.
And if an understanding of history leaves a student or a young person or anyone with that realization, then that alone makes the study of history worth it.
It can build a national interest in why this history, these great documents, these great men who have risked so much and sacrificed so much for the people sitting in this room, why they're still relevant today.
The documents in the library, the artifacts in the museum, the works of art speak to today's audiences differently than they did when they were placed in these collections.
Thinking of the end of the Civil War, the document that General Grant preferred to Robert E. Lee about the surrender of the Army of Northern Virginia, which led to the meeting at Appomattox Courthouse. Just there, help explain why we were able to get over that unpleasantness. Middle of the 19th century, we have the silver service given to Commodore Perry for opening up Japan. We have various kinds of Tiffany lamps, the world's best. The Audubon paintings, we have materials from the Great Fire of 1835, as well as from the tragedy of September 11, 2001, which clearly was one of the most important events in New York's history, but also it served to emphasize that a historical society doesn't just have to be about something that happened long before any of us were alive.
We have tried to make history most vivid by bringing in groups of reenactors who have done a great deal of research and are very well versed in their subjects. And some of our most glorious moments have been watching a group of young kids looking on in awe at someone dressed in a uniform, asking him to empty his pockets to see what he's got. And it's a way of really bringing history alive, which it deserves to be.
We hope that the New York Historical Society can become even more relevant to the concerns of young and old alike as we move forward, whether it's about the 4th of July, and to realize it's not just a time to set off firecrackers and watch fireworks, but there actually is something to be celebrated here.
The logical extension would be to invite new immigrants here to be sworn in our auditorium.
So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United States of America, we welcome you as our newest citizens. Congratulations.
And we all have been inspired by having in our midst a group of people who are joining in the ranks of American citizenry.
There's no story like this in the world. It's worth preserving. It's worth defending with all of the troubles and everything else. And the test is very simple. Do you see migrations going in any other direction?
More African people migrated here between 1990 and the year 2000 willingly than came in the entire slave trade. And unless we open the doors to the diverse face of America, our cultural institutions will die.
This is an institution that was originally about people who had been here a long time. Now I think we're trying to say that history is for everyone, and the New York Historical Society no longer represents just the view of the elite.
It's gone from being a static preserver of documents and information to a dynamic institution that is capable of impacting the country.
He signed it nice and big.
The strategic plan has really important, ambitious, challenging goals. One is we have to continue doing blockbuster exhibitions. Exhibitions where people come in and their understanding of history, their lives, are changed. The second big piece of it is we want to initiate a major effort to help high school students understand more about American history. The best way to do that is to communicate with the 4,000 or so high school teachers. Get them excited so they can make their students excited.
And then they bring that to the classroom, yes, but they also then bring the classroom into the New York Historical Society. And it just spreads from there.
Third is we have to really build a strong capability in terms of the web. The whole digital movement. Every exhibition has to be on the web.
We have to be able to store and make available the digital collections that are beginning to be created here and also to come to us.
Being able to digitize and send it out to the world changes the environment for knowledge and the opportunity to understand way beyond